A family treasure story. Sunrise appears above the horizon. She doesn't know what's on her mind. In fact, she rises and sets without acknowledging time. On the surface, everything looks as if it is an ordinary day, typical of any sunrise in my mother's life. Little does she know there is a world within her eyes that opens a small inkling of what is to become. One never knows the true reflection of life until you look beyond what you think you see. Whenever I think about what it means to be rich or poor, I am reminded of an essay my mother wrote when she attended college for the first time at the age of 45. She once said she could have been considered poor. She lived in a borrowed house owned by the lumber baron. She had few toys but the beach to be her playmate. There were no trips to the mall to shop for newly imported clothes from China or Taiwan. And her primary school was a 3-room schoolhouse for grades 1 through 6. Was my mother poor? By today's standards, probably yes, but she didn't know it. There were no deep bank pockets or flashy art on the walls, but instead homemade clothes, canned jams, fresh fish caught daily by her father, and the sound of the Pacific in her backyard. For the middle child, she relied on her brother and sister for entertainment. She learned early on that relationships would be her foundation for a rich and fulfilling life. You would think Mother Nature would reveal my mother's secrets, but she too respects the passing of time, the wisdom of age, and the journey of compassion. Often age is considered a curse, however my mother celebrates every chance she gets. In her affinity with turtles, in Jiminy Cricket, the conscience of the world, in her transformation of faith and peace, in her love of nature, and her garden. Also in her personal assault on the tennis ball, and in winning. In her adoption of family ravioli traditions from Nani and Papa Tarantino. It is ravioli time once again. Three generations, and the littlest still to learn. Carol is more than a face. We can't imagine a day in her life without a busy schedule. My mother is fond of lists. I have no idea where this started, but as soon as I was old enough to read and do house chores, the lists appeared. One of my favorite lists was created the summer of 1977 and reads something like this. That was it. We were expected to go about our day as if our baby sister was just part of the routine. Really? That routine would never be the same. Our lives are always an adventure, and my mother reminded us by example. She worked tedious hours beside my father in the family fish business for over 33 years. It was definitely not work for the weary, and every one of us did our share from age 9 until adult. Where does this drive come from? Some say survival, others say determination, and still, I think it is heart. Fishing and camping were part of our family traditions. Agate hunting became a family affair. During my mother's 60th birthday camping trip, we had no poles, so my mother demonstrated to everyone how to collect surf fish. It was exciting for sure, as our children and we dipped our hands in the icy Pacific to collect fish for dinner. My mother, father, and I filleted those smelt for a tasty fish barbecue. Life-changing events are everywhere. The birth of all of her children starting at age 19 would test her humor, no doubt. If it were possible to chronicle altering experiences, such as the death of her father, the birth of each grandchild, a child's divorce, the incarceration of a loved one, or a child moving far from home, there can be no contest with that of the cancer diagnosis of her second child. She practically willed my sister to survive. In fact, she can identify which wrinkle is the Joanne line. Over the years, my mother has met each moment with curiosity and compassion. One year, my parents visited Italy. Between Florence, Capri, and Athens, the little girl from Samoa's lumber village was collecting recipes and family history. What other adventures lie in wait for the woman who rises with the sun and believes in all possibilities? After a brief visit to Mount Fuji and a blessing from the guardian of Buddha in Japan, my mother reached beyond the poverty lines and traveled to the island of Pompeii in the Marshall Islands. Here she discovered the sands of time similar to her sandy beaches of Samoa. As a volunteer for several weeks, she prepared vegetarian meals for the doctors and youth volunteers. The long, humid days and sticky insect-ridden nights made her appreciate the comforts of her own home. Each rung on the ladder of life starts with someone guiding, helping, and sharing experiences and lessons. My mother first is a teacher, then a student, and then a teacher again. She is dedicated to her children and grandchildren and the friends they inspire. The Nana bus is leaving. Some things don't change. As in every journey, the road is windy, bumpy, and even comes to a complete halt. But my mother is the first to say, "Do you know what this is?" Her response to, "I don't know." "I don't know either, but here comes another one." While looking at old photos and listening to the stories, the grandchildren often ask my mother, "Were you poor, Nana?" She pauses, and in minutes all parts of her adventures come flashing back. Her infamous smile lights up the room. "No," she says, "I'm the richest person in the world."